Good morning and welcome to Chair Yoga. This morning's practice is about knowing your own body. I'm calling it Inner Truth, but I want you to just think about when you do the exercises today or the poses, that you notice how you feel in the poses, in the joints and the muscles, and even in your breathing. So we come to our chair and we sit tall and mountain in the chair. Rock side to side, plant your feet, and let's begin with our inner truth. We begin with the breath, so we breathe. And then we notice, how does that breath feel? Are you drawing the breath into the belly or the lower lobes of your lungs? Are you exhaling fully, pulling the belly in slightly as you exhale? And then we want to change our breath just a little bit by making that inhale a little longer and that exhale a little longer. So I'm going to do a 4 count. If that works for you, follow along. If it doesn't, you could do your own count. So we take a breath on a count of 4. Inhale, 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 and then exhale, 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 exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. How did that feel? Did you find that your breath slowed a little? I know I did. And now we're going to do something that's really beneficial for getting more oxygen into the lungs, and that is a longer exhale. So take an inhale, and then as you exhale, I'm going to count to 5 or 6. So here we go. 1, 2, keep exhaling. 4, 5, keep exhaling. Inhale. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Keep going. Exhale. And a big inhale. Let's do one more. I'm not going to count. You count for yourself here. A count that works for you, but make the exhale a little longer. Here we go. Inhale. And inhale. Wonderful. Just sit in mountain and take 3 comfortable breaths. And we'll begin our warm up with our feet today. So lift the heels and lower. Just work through the feet a little bit. Press into the ball of the foot. Spread the toes. Good. And then we'll raise one knee and then the other knee. Just getting into the hip a little bit. Feel the weight switch side to side. And then heel toe the feet out. Heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out. Till your legs are nice and wide. And then shift your weight side to side. Just rocking side to side here, feeling that weight shift. Keeping your feet planted on earth here. And then we'll come up to center. We'll roll the shoulders a little bit. So I'm rolling them back and down, and I'm feeling inside that inner truth. What's happening in my shoulders as I do this? And then let's just give a few forward. And does that change the sensation? And it's not for me to tell you how you feel. It's for you to discover how you feel when you do these movements. Let's turn the head one side, the center, other side, and center. Look up a little, and then look down, and back to center. Turn to one side, center, the other side, center. Look up, look down, and look straight ahead. One more time. and back to center. Now we're going to look down and we're going to tuck the chin in and look down and just feel what you feel in the back of your neck. What's that inner truth for you? And then slowly bring the head back up. Wonderful. Let's work on the hands a little bit, making circles. And then the other direction. And then we spread the arms out. And we bring them back in. Give yourself a little hug and rock side to side. Noticing anything that you might feel in your ribs. And then we'll take those arms out again and cross the other arm on top now. And rock. And then inhale them out and lower them down. Let's bring the shoulders up to our ears and then slowly roll them back and down. Let's work with the breath here. So we inhale them up, exhale them down. One more. Feel the spine. And then one hand can come up, other hand can come up as straight as you can alongside the ears, palms facing each other. And then we turn the palms out and wiggle the fingers as we lower them out to the side and down. Let's just take one hand up close to our ear. You can bend the elbow a little bit. Support yourself on the other hand on the thigh and take a side stretch. Notice your inner truth on that side. And then we'll drop the elbow forward and we'll draw it back. We're moving not so much in the shoulder, but in the core of the body, the ribs, the waist, the hips. And then come to center and bring that hand down. Let's take the other hand up close to the ear and lean over to the side. Start to open up in the ribs here. And then on your next exhale, drop the hand forward a little and inhale it back. Think about the elbow moving in this small little arc, but feel the movement, the work in the ribs, in the core, in the waist, maybe even in the hips. And then pause here, come on back to center, heel toe those feet back in and sit into our mountain in the chair. Now today's practice I'm going to do in the chair totally so that you can see what it looks like. And the same directions are going to apply for a standing practice, which I will do in split screen. But remember that in standing practice we have a little bit more range to move through the hips. So I encourage you, practice it in the chair one time. And then the next time you practice, maybe you stand and do some of the work standing. So we start in our mountain, and again, we start with those heel lifts, lift and lower. Now, if you're standing, you want to be behind the chair and have the hands on the chair for support. Bring the heels down, feet flat, hands on your hips. If you're standing, hands can remain on the chair, and we lift one knee and lower it down. Just feel the movement in your hip. And then hold it up there. Now, if you're standing, you're balancing on one leg, the opposite leg, the leg that's anchored into earth. And just notice your inner truth here. Don't hold it maybe as long as I'm holding it. Maybe you release it when you're ready. That's your inner truth. We'll lower that leg down. And once again, just work through the heels, lifting a little bit. And we'll go over to the other side. We'll lift and lower. Find our balance if we're standing. In the chair, we're just going to hold that knee up. Sit a little taller. If you're standing, maybe one hand is on the chair for support. And you hold until you feel you need to put it down. And then you do. And then we put it down. Now I'm going to come forward a little bit so that I can rock my feet onto the toes and then lift the toes. So if you're standing, you might want to bounce through the knees here. Just up and down a little bit, getting a little free, getting a little movement. Wonderful. Couple more here. And then we'll come to stillness, mountain in the chair. Now, in the chair, we're going to do tree pose. If you're standing, you're going to come to one side of your chair so that the chair is slightly in front of you and one hand can reach the chair. Feet are relatively close together. We're going to take one knee and turn it out, come to the ball of the foot. Bring that foot as close to the standing ankle as you can. In the chair, it would be the foot that stays flat on the floor. Turning the knee out, you're getting a nice stretch here on the inner thigh. And if you're standing or sitting, you might lift that leg for a little more challenge here, pressing the foot into the shin. Now, this might not be possible in the chair, depending on the inner thigh work that you're doing. And then again, if you want, you can raise the hands for that nice rib stretch, torso stretch, belly in. The heart lifts the shoulders, dropping down the back. How does that feel? And on an exhale, we release down and release that foot. And let's just rock through those feet or bounce if you're bouncing. Good. Other side. If you're standing, you're going to go to the other side of the chair, place one hand on the chair. Everybody bends that other knee now and brings the heel up over the ankle of the opposite foot. The opposite foot plants into the earth and we sit tall in the chair or stand tall. Rotating the inner thigh out, coming into tree pose. And again, a little more challenge would be to bring the foot up onto the shin. You can hold here with hands on the hips, or you can bring them alongside of your head. Pulling the belly in and focusing on something to create stability for yourself. And breathe. And you hold it only as long as you can. And then you, very controlled, lower it back down and release. Good. And now let's separate those feet in circles. So if you're in the chair, you're going to put your hands on your hips and shift your weight from hip to hip. If you're standing, watch me in the standing poses. I place my hands behind me and I just rock my hips in a big circle. Here we go. So in the chair, it looks like this. There's big weight shift from one hip to the other, maybe back and forward a little. And then we'll go in the other direction. And then we'll come up to standing or sitting in mountain in the chair. We're going to take one leg out to the side so that it's somewhat at an angle to our hip, both feet planted on earth. We're going to take our same side hand to the inner thigh. And then lean into that forearm a little bit. And then once you're there and you're anchored, lift out of that a little bit with your chest. Lift your head off to that side. This other hand can stay on your thigh, on your back, or it can come alongside of your head once again, finding this nice angle. And in the chair, you can even extend that foot that's on the side of the top arm. Standing, you can also do that. Be mindful of that, though, that you have good balance. And then draw that shoulder back a little bit so you feel this on the back side of your ribs. And then come up sitting straight. Take this same arm that's on the leg now. We're going to bring it into the inner thigh, and the arm's going to be straight. So I'm pressing the back of my hand into the bottom part of the leg, the arm into the top part of the leg. If you're standing, you can do that also. And then we're going to fold again. And this is triangle in the chair now, dropping that hand towards earth. If you're standing, you can also do this with the other leg taking a good part of your weight so the weight is balanced between your feet. One more breath here. Exhale fully. And then inhale all the way up, releasing the top arm, bringing the foot in, bringing the other foot in, and sitting tall. So we'll do that on the other side. We're going to step the foot out so that the thigh is at an angle to the hips. The hips are staying forward, the leg is at an angle. Forearm to that leg, other arm comes up. And we just lean over, not putting too much pressure on the leg so that our chest is lifting away from the hips. And again, you can extend the leg to the side, on the same side as the arm above your head. Breathe here. Side ankle pose. Lifting the shoulder back a little bit, opening up through the chest. How does that feel? And then come up a little bit. Now we're going to take that arm on the leg that's bracing on the leg. We're going to brace it to the inside, pushing against the inside, pushing the leg back. Hand might touch the calf. And then again, we'll lean into that. Bring that shoulder back. So now my shoulders and my arms are in somewhat of an alignment here. And we breathe in triangle pose. And then slowly come up, releasing one hand, releasing the other, and bringing the feet in one at a time till we're back into our mountain pose. Now again, we want to get a little movement in the hips to release all that tension. So if you're standing, you could swing your leg forward and back. You can do that seated as I'm doing here, moving through the knee. And the other side. If you're in the chair though, we want to get a little more movement in the hips, so we're going to rock forward and back. Standing people will get that movement just swinging their leg. Wonderful. Looks good, everybody. Sit tall, and we'll come into another inner thigh stretch by taking one foot and crossing it over the other ankle and spreading the knees apart. Position one. If you want more and you have the flexibility, you can bring that foot to the thigh and just drop that knee out to the side. Make sure that your knee is over the standing ankle. Now, if you're standing, you might want to come into the chair for this. Very difficult to do. Possible, but difficult, requiring a lot of balance. So we'll come back to the chair for that. Everybody in their chair, everybody in this figure four position here. And then if you want a little more length or stretch in the back, thigh, back, hip, you just lean forward a little bit, open your palms, and breathe. One more breath here. And then we'll come all the way up. Now, again, if you're in the chair, and I encourage everybody at this point to be in the chair, we cross our legs. If you're here, you're just bringing the knees closer together. And we're going to take Lord of the Fish. So whatever foot's in front, that hand's going to go back behind you a little bit. And the other hand is going to brace now or push in to the outside of that hip. And we turn the body. We can turn our head, we can turn our eyes to look at that thumb behind us. Another position for this would be to cross the legs a little higher. Same position for the upper body. And think about here, sinking the hips into the chair and lifting through the heart area. Dropping shoulders down, just as you would in mountain in the chair. Eyes look at that thumb, wiggle that thumb. See if you can see it out of the corner of your eye. On an exhale, slowly release the head forward, the shoulders, the arms, the ribs, and then uncross. Good. Let's take that shifting and releasing here a little bit, forward and back. And then we'll come to the other side. So again, we can cross here and just separate the knees for a nice inner thigh stretch. Or we can lift that foot up onto the thigh, supporting it with the foot on the floor. Let the knee fall out to the side wherever it'll go. And you can notice I'm a little tighter on this side. Sitting tall, we open the palms. Maybe we stay here tall. Maybe we lean into it a little bit. Lean in a little bit and then see how that feels. What's your inner truth here? Could you actually hold this for about 4 or 5 breaths? If not, sit taller so that you can. Listen to your inner voice of the body. And we breathe in and out, nice and easy. And then slowly come up on an inhale. And again, cross at the ankles or cross at the knees. And then we're going to take that, whatever leg's on top, that arm's going to go back. The other arm's going to brace on the outside of that thigh, pressing into the thigh to get that twist going in the ribs, in your middle. Maybe take our eyes to look at that thumb, wiggle that thumb. Stay and breathe. Still trying to sit tall, keep the chin slightly tucked. On an exhale, the head comes forward, the shoulder and arm, and then we uncross those legs. Take them apart and shift your weight side to side. Releasing through the back. Any other movement you need here. Roll through the shoulders maybe a little. And then we'll bring the feet parallel in front of us, sitting tall. And we'll take a few cat-cows here. So cat rounds the spine. So we pull the belly in and we start to push the mid-back towards the chair and then drop our head and chin to the chest. Roll the shoulders forward. And then on your next inhale, we're going to just push through the hands and sit tall. Really push. As you push through the hands, you can feel the spine grow taller. And then release that and round forward again. And push into the legs. Come up nice and tall. Push, push, push so that that spine gets long. And round forward again. We'll do one more like that. Coming up. Inhale. Push. Lift that spine long. And then release all of that. Very, very nice. So I hope that you now can close your eyes for a moment and just notice where you felt your practice today. What was your inner truth? Did you listen to your body? Did you stay in your range of practice today? Closing the eyes, coming back to the breath. And maybe you want to come back to that count again to help you lengthen that exhale. And then bring hands together, rub them, create that little bit of warmth, and then hover the hands over the face and just pause there so that that energy can soak in. And then open your eyes into that warmth and bring your hands back in front of your heart and bow to your body for its fabulous work. Thank you so much for joining me for this inner truth practice today of listening to the breath, connecting it with our movements, and going where we can to challenge ourselves, but at the same time, stay safe. And as I said at the beginning of the video, practice it in the chair once or twice, and then come back to the video and practice it standing. Have a nice day.